back to Market on Close. It's time for Overlooked Stocks, so we'll bring in George Tsilis into the conversation. He's our senior markets correspondent here at Schwab Network. We're looking at Ouster today. They had a big rally after they got an upgrade. Tell us what we should know about this company.
Well, I think we're going to go to what we talked about last Friday when we talked, Marley, about Laser, which is essentially a laser detection and sensor company that's selling in the defense space. And Ouster is actually very similar in the sense that it provides sensor technologies that are leading LiDAR technologies that are critical using for the automotive space, industrial robotics, but also smart infrastructure like cities and industry. They basically provide sensors for high resolution 3D scanner technologies. And we have to think about the aspects of autonomous driving and also the aspects of sensors which are used in smart cities, from everything like controlling traffic or optimizing operations for traffic. And, if you look at the stock, it's hitting some new 52-week highs on the back of earnings, which were posted last week on the 7th. They actually posted a significant increase in EPS, even though they lost money still around 26 cents. It was a 50% improvement compared to the losses of 50 cents for the same quarter last year. And sales actually beat the estimates around 35 million for the quarter. And that was higher by 33% year over year. And the company guided higher for Q3. But today's catalyst comes from, I think, a follow-through move to the upside in terms of ratings from WestPark Capital, which actually upgraded the stock to a buy from hold. And they got a $50 price target. And this is where I think there's a corollary to Enlight, symbol LASR, that we talked about last week, in terms of essentially the technology expansion, which includes now defense. So it looks like Ouster is actually deploying their sensor performance technologies, which are more cost effective and scalable, into other areas in the industrial space, including defense. The other thing is they're moving into durable consumer goods for things like lawnmowers, which essentially, if you think about this, is probably going to be right around the corner in terms of, autonomous lawnmowers, mowing your lawn, robotics. Tesla with their Optimus robot is looking to scale that up eventually. And Ouster is actually one of these sensor technology names that has been growing its sales and also growing its earnings footprint with a pretty healthy balance sheet, considering that even if you look at last year, excluding the quarter they just reported, they lost around 92 million on sales, which were close to 135 million. But nonetheless, their financial position with close to 250 million in cash is well positioned to handle the next 2 to 2.5 years of burn rate, with growing sales estimated to be $300 million by 2027, which essentially means that there's a 2-year 50% compound annual growth rate estimated to come into this stock in the next 2 years.
And a unique thing when I was looking up Ouster, knowing we were going to talk about it, is, like you mentioned, the application of LiDAR is not just in, robots and autonomous vehicles anymore. It's in everyday functions, like in your lawnmower, and we talk about these things. It's like everything in AI needs a set of eyes. They are very involved in the retail and consumer space as well, not just on the defense side that we see with some of the other companies that are similar.
Right. Correct. And I think, it just makes sense. I mean, obviously, having something like an autonomous lawnmower is something that's been a huge demand once it's deployed and the technology is well suited. But their sensors, Ouster sensors, provide the infrastructure and connectivity, and also things like topographical 3D mapping. And that's important when you consider things like lawnmowers, which, aren't necessarily doing the work on a flat surface. So their technologies are becoming more ubiquitous. I think the smart city technology as well, connecting traffic operations. You have Waymo with LiDAR and radar sensors, and even controlling traffic signals based upon, traffic needs. And autonomous driving is connected to a smart city, which Ouster has the parallel infrastructure technologies that go along with autonomous driving, and also the industrial robotics space. So they seem to be well positioned in the next secular trends, which include robotics, autonomous driving, factory automation, but also, as you mentioned, retail and consumer goods.
And LiDAR is so interesting, too, George. Thank you for breaking all that down for us, too, because there isn't a privacy concern there. It doesn't capture typical based camera images, so you're not capturing people's faces.
Right.
There's no privacy issue here with LiDAR, so it will be interesting to keep an eye on this space. But thank you for talking Ouster with us today.